gonna tell you something. That's a peach right now. Either we work hard for it, or we don't work hard for it.
Καλησπέρα σας. Σας ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ για τον ωραίο πρόλογο. Σήμερα θα σας μιλήσουμε για το μάρμαρο και τον τρόπο που εμείς έχουμε μεταμορφώσει αυτό το υλικό. Το μάρμαρο είναι ένα αρχέτυπο ελληνικό υλικό, το οποίο έχει ταξιδέψει παντού. Και γι' αυτό το λόγο θα θέλαμε παρουσίαση να είναι στα αγγλικά.
So, hello everyone. Thank you for being here. We're sisters. I am Zoe and Niki. And we are the founders and designers of Marble Studio on Entropy. Our relationship with marble has started a long time ago. So, looking into family photo albums, there was a lot of traveling and island hopping, exploring rocky landscapes and quarries and different mineral formations that they were so bright that it was often eye-hurting. We were getting blinded by their whiteness. And then there was more rocks, and occasionally Niki and Mom and Zoe in the photos. So indeed, marble has played a key role in our development, or in the Greek term, exelixis.
As has entropy. I understand how entropy and marble might not be quite easy to understand the relationship with, but I was always fascinated by this term. So I will start from my personal experience with entropy. The best moment in my life was when I had my son, and there must be a few working mothers here, so life had changed completely. I was oscillating between order and disorder. I was living in organized, beautiful chaos. So, like, things had accepted a lot, had changed a lot, and I was very. After all the existential issues and queries, I started looking to the term entropy and what it meant to be in order and disorder, and the theory of chaos, really. So at the same time, I was working for an architect's practice, designing marble architectural columns. Very interesting at the time being. I was very familiar with the material from my teenage years, and I found it quite challenging turning a quite hard and cold material into a column or even an item like that. So, for me, marble triggered this kind of chaotic feeling. So that was it. I had realized there was a relationship between the two, and a kind of lifetime ongoing project started. So over the years, together with my sister, Zoe, and with lots of love, discipline, oscillating many times between chaos and order and chaos, we got to develop this mental toolkit, and quite practical at some points, on how to deal with challenging materials or situations. So today, we will talk about life, evolution, exelixis through our eyes into our marble world. So this is not going to be a talk about geology or physics. It will be about notions of understanding, relating, experiencing, and learning, and creativity. So ultimately, exelixis by design.
So let's start from the basics, and let's get you involved a little bit. So how many of you know what marble is? I suppose a lot of Greeks we have in the audience, so of course, yes, marble. And then how about entropy? Are any people familiar with it? Yes, okay, that's encouraging, more than what I was expecting, so that's good. So, starting with marble, it is a metamorphic rock. That means that it has been formed inside the earth under very high temperatures and very high pressures for a long, long time, millions of years. While it's been formed, discontinuities in the rock develop that appear like these cracks. These are physical discontinuities, but then there are also chemical discontinuities, like these, which form because of different minerals being deposited there for a very, very long time and forming these beautiful veins. Now, the reason why we mention this is that other than their aesthetic value, these are the weak points in marble. These are the breaking points. And this is something that it's very crucial in our work, as you will see later on. But first, to immerse you in our world of marble, this video, which is a video, yes, it is a video indeed, it was, and I think our lovely Psyche, Sizak, can do a little bit about the music, because it has a really nice music behind. Well, still, we can do without the music. It was, you can imagine it, visualize it. It's a very nice piece by, there you go, thank you. Then we will dance a bit of ballet. No, we won't do that. So this film was shot in the quarry of Dionysos, which is located in the mountain Pedeli. Pedeli is a very important landscape because it's a cultural landscape, and that's because this is where all marble for all major works of antiquity came from. So the Parthenon marbles, the marbles that were exported to Pompeii. But what we look here at the moment is the current and active site on the opposite side of Pedeli at Dionysos, which it's active. Obviously, the ancient one, it's protected, it's an archaeological site. So as you move into this stoa, you get a bit of a daunting feeling originally, because you move from a place which is very bright into a darker place. And as you see, as you move up, it's quite a big hole. Literally what it is, it's a huge hole into the mountain. This height, as you go up from the very bottom all the way up, it's about 40 meters high. So to give you a bit of a scale to this, if I was to be standing there, I would be between there and there. So it's a huge, an enormous place. And it gives you that feeling almost metaphysical, and probably for the right reasons, because one day, one way or the other, we will all eventually end up back there in our
new home.
Huge marble home for eternity. Yes, it's a very important place, and the reason this particular quarry, that it's still active, you can see Pedeli just there at the opposite, it's where the place that marble is sourced for all the current important architectural landmarks, including the Opera House, the National Opera House by Renzo Piano, as well as international projects in India, the Baha'i Temple. Marble is sourced from there. So it's, if you ever get the chance, it's a really unique place to visit. So that was a lot of marble.
Indeed.
Moving on with entropy. Now, this is a term that it's been defined in many disciplines that range from thermodynamics and systems theory and mathematics to psychology. And it's a term that it's puzzling even to scientists, and that's because of the many interpretations that it has. So today we do not expect that you will leave this talk knowing all about entropy, but what we do hope is that you will get to understand how entropy is a source of inspiration and how it helps us evolve. So before getting into the very specifics, just to take a step back and appreciate that it is so important, entropy, which falls into the second law of thermodynamics, it's that important that ignorance of which, the second law of thermodynamics, is equivalent to never have read a work by Shakespeare. Now, this is a big statement, and whoops, and probably for the right reasons, because what entropy does, I still haven't got there what entropy is, but I promise I will get there in a minute. What entropy does, it explains, it sets a basis to why any change occurs in life. And by any, we don't just mean how engines run, but why Nina Simone has been feeling good and has made us feel good and has done all this great work from her music work that she has refocused it into her fight for civil rights. Entropy is behind literature, it's everywhere. Because what entropy is, eventually, a measure of change. So to make it a little bit more tangible, we will see its etymology, that it comes from the word en, which means inside, entropy, which means turning, a transformation, so it's an internal transformation. And to make it now tangible, we will look at this example of how an ice cube, when it interacts with the environment, it melts. Pretty straightforward. There is a temperature difference, heat flows, and it melts. Now, trying to reverse this process, and this is where entropy comes in, if we were in a lab, in an idealized scenario, it would be quite straightforward. But in any real process, and at the level where we are working, and in any real-life case scenario, that wouldn't be easy, mainly because processes in life are irreversible because they're not 100% efficient. As you move on in life, there are losses. I mean, in this example, it was energy loss to the environment, it was heat, it can be friction. In life, we lose patience, we lose our temper, so many other things. And as we move on from a very ordered state to a more free state and more chaotic state, the entropy increases. So at a more personal level, probably that was my head back in my early 20s, a very structured civil engineer with all the boxes set out clearly, very safe. And as I evolved and grew out of my 20s, and as I appreciated that life can be chaotic, this is more of a me having a, well, not as chaotic, but having appreciated that and embraced that chaos is there. So, back to marble, how we bring the two together. That was entropy, and I hope you have at least got a sense of it. So how do we put the two together, marble and entropy, in what we do in a physical sense? So we take marble from the earth, which sits there in a very stable position. It took millions of years for it to be formed, so its entropy is very low. We extract it from the earth. We square it into big volumes, and then we shape it into smaller ones. We finish it by hand into a refined object whose entropy we have increased. Also in our designs, we like to introduce light, which doesn't change the structural configuration of marble, obviously, but it changes the feel, making it more airy and light. And finally, we like to hang our marble creations, invoking a more floating feeling, if you like. So, probably you've had quite a bit of me and of science, and now Niki is going to give us another perspective of marble and entropy.
So, looking to the cultural values embedded in marble and entropy, what we would like to do is continue this entropic process through marble to the cultural values embedded. So, looking back in history, this is the first evidence of marble found in Greece 4,000 years ago. It's the prehistoric Cycladic. It is symbolizing fertility, and it was a means for religious and spiritual expression. 2,000 years later, the Caryatid, a female sculpture that was acting as an architectural element, as support, is nowadays historic and architectural icon. Today, through our work, we are hoping that we can add a quite tiny remark at the contemporary phase interpretation of marble. But how actually do we do this? As mentioned before, marble is a brittle material, and it's characterized by its quite high breaking points. And this can be seen often as obstacles in design. But I would like to see them as challenges. it looks very strong. It's a solid rock. But when its configuration changes, it becomes extremely fragile. So when there is an entropy increase, which means it changes from one state to the other, then there is a risk of failure. And we can see this in the video below. It's one of our designs, a marble plate, yes? You can see this is the inherent vein, which just by pulling it, this is the point where it breaks. These veins, these are sneaky veins that appear very, very often. And there's not much you can do about it, other than accepting, really, that they're there. So especially in our light designs, these challenges become even more apparent, because there what we're trying to do is to balance translucency with rigidity. What this means is that we try to make marble thin enough for light to pass through, but at the same time strong for it, so strong so that it doesn't fail. We don't want any marble to fail on top of the heads of our... and it hasn't, of course. And it hasn't, of course. But in the process of doing that, in every new design, this means a lot of experimentation, a lot of trial and error. And however much you have studied marble and however many calculations I've done, then it fails, because marble is a natural material, and these cracks are coming where you do not expect. So imagine how the civil engineer inside me feels when this happens. But it's part of the process. It's something we have learned to accept. So similarly in life, in a life that you can change to the next... As the there you go. Anthropologist Bateson stated, there is a tendency of things to get into a muddle. And we have seen a lot of muddle in quarries, and this is actually the floor of a quarry, so in a few minutes. Sorry, there you go. And this is actually one of our newest investigations, turning marble dust into items. So you cannot control everything. And what we do is that we accept that with every new design, things might not work the way we wanted them to work. And things simply break. And I guess it's the same with us. We've all reached our breaking points, but that's okay, because there is something quite valuable in this experience. So we've become quite comfortable with mess. So we decided that, and we did in the project we did last year at Somerset House, at the London Design Biennale, we embraced the weak points of the marble, and we exposed the natural beauty and these inherent cracks in a way of celebrating nature and the material, but also celebrating life. So, why have these entropic aspects have been important for us, and what have we gained? So we've developed our toolkit, and I can give you a few words that you can pull out in a change in life. So, understanding the relationship of these two concepts has been very important to us, because it's a driving force for our creativity and evolution. So in this toolkit we have experimentation, we have investigation, we have research of the challenging materials and situations, but lots of love and passion. We understand that living in the uncontrolled world has this certain level of uncertainty and chaos. And it's okay to oscillate between order and disorder as long as there's some kind of discipline. And failure, of course. And I would like to think that when we are conscious of the project, the process of design as well, and the process of life, there is room and space for transformation, and even more, there is no real failure, but only evolution. So essentially, this is how we evolve, by embracing mess. And concluding, we would like to think that we have encouraged you also to think that through any rigid and solid situation, you can transform it into something light,
full of brightness and life, and indeed life can be messy, but sorry, I keep not being very...
So.
There's no battery. Yes, I think we ran out of battery. So this is quite entropic in that state as well. Thank you.
It's back there.
Yes, and this,
there it is. This is the last one, yes.
So yes, this is life's messiness that's happening right now. And a photo of us in the quarry 18 meters high. And as sometimes in life, the more entropic, the more evolutionary. And even though we're 18 meters high, as long as we are safe and together, we're evolving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again.